First up, we have Kate Reilly James, and she's going to be saying, what's she doing? She's going to be telling us about what a difference a decade makes, and why 2010 was a year to remember. I mean, it's just going to be a talk about the first ever Ignite Liverpool, presumably, but we'll find out.
You're making me go first. Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm always waiting for you to press the button. Good. Okay, as Ignite Liverpool celebrates its 10 years of memorable socials such as this one, what better time for a humble journalist such as me to take you back to 2010 on a trip down memory lane and talk about some of the news stories, the headlines, and some of the quirky things that happened 10 years ago from today. So first up, it wasn't a big year for monogamy, 2010. Cheryl Cole got the ball rolling when she finally left love cheat Ashley Cole, and sexting became a thing, 10 whole years of sexting. Some of these guys got done for sending some saucy messages to women who weren't their wives, including Vernon Kay, Ronan Keating, and the lovely, how could Mark Owen do that? He was always the cute one. And on research, going back through 2010, it turns out that actually there was barely a week where there wasn't a high-profile breakup in 2010, including Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Sandra Bullock, Reilly James, Kate Winslet, Sam Mendes, and the one that got me, the one that actually made me still feel quite sad now when we watch comic relief and that type of thing, was Lenny Henry and Dawn French broke up 10 years ago. Gutting. But it wasn't all failed mediation and divorce. One lucky soul managed to find someone to love his permatan and boot-cut wearing ways. It was, of course, media mogul Simon Cowell, who finally put a ring on it, and then a month later he took it back off again. But Prince William had more luck, and he sealed the deal with Kate Middleton 10 years ago, causing a bit of a stir in the news because he used his mum's blue sapphire ring, prompting Primark to jump on the bandwagon and create about 3 million of them so we could all feel like royalty for 5 minutes. Can you believe it's been 10 years since Apple launched the iPads for a meagre 370 quid? Imagine that now. So we did pretty well in 2010. It's also the year that we got Snap Happy and we took more pictures of our dinner, our dogs, our cats, everything from the weather, political memes, buskers on the subway, because life became Instagrammable. And we overshared. Pinterest also launched in 2010, prompting people to steal wooden pallets from skips up and down the country, because apparently we were all going to make it into this fabulous looking furniture that I don't know anybody who's actually managed to do that. But yeah, speaking of living your best life, it was also a wealth of new words and slang terms gained popularity around 2010. We were all chillaxing. How utterly cringy is that now? While Cameron and Clegg had forged a bit of a bromance, or a coalition as they called it, binge-watching box sets became a thing, and first world props showed its face, as did unfriending people on Facebook. Farmville also happened, which apparently was really addictive. It wasn't for me, but it did signal the end of anybody having any kind of conversation on a sofa at home anymore. So yeah, the online Facebook gaming thing took off. It was a great year for music. 2010, Lady Gaga stole the limelight in the meat dress, which apparently has been in a museum and now it looks like beef jerky, which is a bit disgusting. And 2010 is also the year that Liverpool's greatest export, the Beatles, made it on to iTunes, proving that all you need is love and the latest iPhone. Glastonbury celebrated its 40th anniversary and the lineup was amazing. U2, Dizzy Rascal, Stevie Wonder, Snoop Dogg, Muse, Faithless were all on the pyramid stage, and Matt McCardle won X Factor. Nobody's seen him since. On the telebox, we were all raving about Downton Abbey. 10 years ago, Downton Abbey took over our Sunday nights. Boardwalk Empire, The Walking Dead, 10 whole years ago. And at the weekends, we were hitting the big screen watching the likes of Toy Story 3, Alice in Wonderland, Inception, The Social Network, Get Into the Greek, Shutter Island, Black Swan, and the unmissable, the legendary Hot Tub Time Machine. There was a double-dip recession in 2008, and we were all a bit skint, but in 2010, Euro Millions upped the price of basically winning 56 million to £2, and we were all a bit gutted, apart from one Gloucestershire white van man who won 56 million. And then in October, so I think it was about 2 months later, somebody won 113 million, which was the biggest to date. Sadly, it wasn't a totally successful year for those with a few quid in 2010. It saw Segway boss Jimmy Hazelden fell to his death in North Yorkshire after riding one of his own firm's motorised scooters off a cliff edge. Probably not the nicest of news that year. In other news, Iceland erupted. or rather a volcano in Iceland erupted that nobody could pronounce. And millions of European flights were grounded, which is a bit gutting if you realise that your 2 weeks in Benidorm wasn't amped and protected. England's World Cup campaign was pretty much a bag of shite, and Germany sent Wayne and Frank home in the second round. But by far, the most random, after I set out to research this, the most random and actually pretty scary, terrifying story that happened in 2010 is that of Raoul Moat, or more specifically, former Newcastle, Everton and England footballer Gazza. So I'm sure you'll all remember where you were. Raoul Moat went on this horrendous shooting campaign in Northumberland in July 2010, and his standoff with police had glued to the TV overnight. And so there was only one man who thought he was the one to put an end to this madness. When he turned up in his dressing gown with a cooked chicken and a fishing rod, apparently. I'm sure you all remember it. And then, over in the States, making America great again, a postal worker from Wisconsin was jailed for delivering the post to a law firm bollock naked to try and cheer up the surly receptionist who was there who greeted him every day. A narcissistic goat caused $2,000 worth of damage after seeing its reflection in a strip club window and promptly headbutted it. A poor man tried to sell his soul on eBay. It's only ever happened once, but it didn't meet the reserve because somebody only bid $666 for it, which is a bit scary. And all of this was before Bumble, Tinder and Facebook Messenger, but that will all come next year when Ignite celebrates 11 years of amazing socials. Thank you.